So I spent the day pouring this new bismuth Ganesh. I have a graphite mold now, which allows for these crystal growth kind of pores. The nice thing about the crystals is that they can look beautiful, and also it uses up a lot less bismuth than if you pour it solidly through. Right? Cost of materials is always a tricky thing when you're working with metals of any sort, and I'm really starting to thrive with my art career and getting a lot of connections there. Unfortunately, this past week, my grandmother, my father's mother, passed away. She was 91 years old, and I'm going to have to spend a couple weeks with my family. Fortunately, it was during the Christmas holiday, and so it's not really going to interrupt my work at the community colleges, but I have to take time away from my art, right? I'm not going to pack my hot plates and certainly not bismuth onto a plane, right? And so I have to take a break away from that. And it just goes to show that I complained in my videos a lot about how little time off we get from work at the community colleges. We have this policy of discretionary vacation policy. You just have to, kind of like an open door policy, you just have to find somebody who can fill in or find other arrangements. And I curse about it because it's so hard to ask for a day off when you know you have to bother somebody, you got to bother your students. I had scheduled a day off on November 7th is Mary Curry's birthday. I had planned to take the day to record a video repeating one of her experiments. It's a very involved process, a lot of gear, a lot of dangerous chemicals, a lot of equipment. And I kind of lost the nerve to do the chemical reaction anyway. And so when my student brought up something he wanted to do in class, oh, but you're away, right? I canceled the day off. Yeah, I love all my students, and when I heard that he was disappointed that I would be away, the way he said it kind of bothered me, and I canceled the day off. Maybe I'll, instead of doing the experiment, I'll talk about it because I kind of lost the nerve because it's kind of dangerous anyway. What had happened is I got a very sensitive Geiger counter, and I discovered that the dust in our household can be slightly radioactive because when radon decays, it forms, among other things, polonium, which is positively charged and sticks to the dust in the house. And I discovered that if I pull dust out of the vacuum cleaner, it's quite radioactive actually, depending on how recently you vacuum. And I came up with a couple ways to concentrate the radioactive dust. What I discovered is that a mixture of sulfuric acid with hydrogen peroxide, it's also called Purana solution, will pretty much vaporize all of the organic material in the dust and leave behind a solution of just the minerals in the dust, right? The polonium, and other minerals that are in the dust, right? And then you can boil off the acid and have a radioactive sludge. And then you hold the Geiger counter near the sludge, and it goes gee 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 ga 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 gee 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 ga ga, like, and it flashes like red warning signs. And I was hoping to spend the day vacuuming and even offering to vacuum home our neighboring homes and collecting all the dust. And but it's a very involved process with PPE, and even then, it's scary. The last time I did it, I don't know if it was psychosomatic. I vomited. I hope it wasn't acute radiation poisoning. I was just really nervous about it. But I want to develop a process where we can extract nuclear energy from dust. Anyways, long story short, I canceled the day off because I really love all of my students. But my recent having to take time off for bereavement taught me that as much as I love my art projects, there's no paid time off at all. That's a very unnatural concept. And so maybe the next time I schedule a day off at the community colleges, even if I only take one day off during the year, I really got to appreciate that because the natural world does not provide for paid time off, right? I sometimes forget about that and forget to appreciate it for what it is, right? But at the same time, I often have a hard time taking care of number one first as well, right? So it's a balancing act, right? But I need to ask for it, but then appreciate it is what I learned from this current situation with the art projects, and appreciate we have some safety gear to work with radioactive dust, right? Because the last person to try that experiment, unfortunately, didn't have good PPE and didn't live old enough to collect Social Security if it had existed at the time. Obviously, wrong country as well, but also not old enough to receive it, right? She died just a few months short of that, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum